Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I have the good fortune to be joined by Andrew Crapuchettes from RedBalloon Recruiter. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Seth, and nice to see you.
Likewise. So let's dive in. What is RedBalloon Recruiter and why are you so different?
Yeah, so RedBalloon is America's pro-freedom job board, and we serve thousands of businesses that are just focused on meritocracy and hard work, you know, the things that made America great in the first place. Hiring the person who's the best for the job and not kind of bowing to the woke ideology. And we have, again, thousands of businesses, millions of job seekers who have been finding jobs where they can be free, where they can live their values out loud, and where they can work really hard and kind of get back to the vision of capitalism. A number of years ago, our businesses started coming to us and said, hey, is there a way for you to do some recruiting for us? And so we kind of sat down and looked at the drawing board and said, look, the traditional recruiter is going to charge 20 to 40% of the first year compensation to bring an employee in. And for a lot of businesses, they can't afford that. And the only reason they kind of sometimes do afford that is because they don't know where to start. And hiring is very complicated. We all know that it's very expensive to hire the wrong person within your organization, and yet employers don't do it very often. Therefore, they don't have a lot of reps at it. So that's when we launched RedBalloon Recruiter. So it's kind of a sister product to the RedBalloon job board that's well known. And RedBalloon Recruiter is an opportunity for us to take over hiring. We only charge $4,500 to do the recruitment process and then a $2,000 success fee. Basically, you're going to save yourself $30,000 to $40,000 per hire over using an outsourced recruiter. And you know you're going to get values-aligned people who are going to build your culture and not pull it down. So that's what RedBalloon Recruiter is, and that's how it's different.
That is awesome. I love the idea that you're specifically focused around a certain set of values. And in this case, I hypothetically wouldn't have to worry about that I'm going to offend my employees by something I might say and be taken over by those types of folks. What did you do before? You had the RedBalloon job board before this. So how did that come about?
Yeah, good question. So I've been a tech CEO for quite a few years now, and RedBalloon.work, which is the job board, RedBalloon.work, it's not even 3 years old at this point. Before that, I was the CEO of a pretty large tech company, but as 2020 came around, my board lost its mind just like everybody else in the world. And so they decided I was too conservative and Christian for their liking. And so I found myself delightfully unemployed from a business that I was running. And we were growing 25% a year with a 40% margin. So we were successful. I was not fired for performance. I was fired for perception. I wouldn't put the black square on my social media. I wouldn't make a statement about George Floyd or Black Lives Matter or COVID. And they just didn't want me around because of those things. And so that's why I started RedBalloon.work, because I had just been given a choice between my job and my values. And I wanted to make sure that other people who were given that same choice knew that they had an alternative where they could live their values out loud at work and be in a position where they can find a like-minded, values-aligned employer. And employers, Seth, this is a terrible stat, but 75% of all businesses in America have had a labor-based lawsuit in the last 5 years. 75% of all businesses in America have a labor-based lawsuit. And a lot of that is, well, you mispronounced me, or you have to walk on eggshells around your employees because they're going to be offended all the time. And that's where a lot of those things come from. And so we wanted to be helpful to businesses in the kind of small business, parallel economy, freedom economy, where these businesses wanted to be able to hire someone and not have to worry about a lawsuit, not have to worry about a woke hire coming in and destroying their culture. And we wanted to come alongside and help them. And it has been incredible. The thank you notes I get from perfect strangers every day, both on the business and the job seeker side, where they have found each other because of RedBalloon.work. And we just love being part of that story for so many people.
That is awesome. And I love the passion, and I love the cause. Let's talk about the tech that powers it. You mentioned thousands of jobs and millions of applicants. That sounds like one heck of an application and a data set to manage. How do you build the tech stack that delivers something like a monster.com?
Yeah, exactly. And I will say that there's a lot of businesses that are in a tenuous position, whether they know it or not. If you're on Amazon Web Services or some of the major cloud platforms out there, if we have another round of cancel culture, whether it's connected to the election or whether it's connected to any other social issue, you've put yourself in a terrible position as a business if you are not in a strong position. So RedBalloon.work actually. Initially, we were on kind of the traditional web platforms where we were using their cloud services, and we realized that's a danger. It's a danger for our job seekers. It's a danger for our employers. And so we have built our technology from the ground up. And I have an amazing engineering team, and it's allowed us to build the largest database of pro-freedom job seekers really on the planet. These are all people who believe in capitalism, believe in hard work, believe in meritocracy, and are eager and looking for a job. And so we have a whole series of technologies we're using. We get plenty of attacks. We get cyber attacks by people on the left. I get media attacks because I'm standing up for freedom. And as you know, freedom is a dangerous construct because free men think clearly, and they think clearly about elections. They think clearly about the economy. And so we have definitely been under attack, but I am pleased to say that my technology team, my cyber security team is bulletproof, and we have not had anybody break through or have any problems at all, actually, which has been really, really fun.
That is incredible. I mean, that's a whole, I mean, you could do that as a whole separate service of
That's right.
Red Balloon data security.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's amazing in and of itself. Now, talk a little bit about the team at Red Balloon, because I would assume you are a product of the process.
That's right. That's right. So somebody asked me, they're like, well, how do you do hiring at RedBalloon? I'm like, are you kidding me? I have a phenomenal team, and we do our own hiring because we do it all the time. So the RedBalloon team, we're all actually, most of us, except for a couple of people, all based in Moscow, Idaho. We decided that in-person was the way that we wanted to go, and that's not right for every business, but it has been right for us, and we've been able to get extraordinary talent in town. We obviously use our own job board. We use our own recruiting service when we need to hire new people. We have a great team of about 35 people, so we're small and growing, but we're mighty, and we are honestly doing recruiting for hundreds of businesses where we're coming alongside. And let me talk about kind of the recruiting process, because that's what a lot of the team is doing right now. When we take on a new customer, and we just took on one yesterday for they needed a DevOps engineer. We go through and we understand the position, but we also understand their culture and their kind of values distinctives, what's their mission statement, and so on and so forth, because we're going to use that information in the interview process. We're going to use that information as we're writing a job posting. So we do this kind of an extensive onboarding call with new customers, understand their values, their culture, and the job that they're trying to fill. We then use all that information to advertise that job with job postings, but we also do outbound work where we'll actually reach out to people specifically, and we'll say, hey, there's a new opportunity that I think might be a good fit for you. And so an example, we had an MSP down in Southern California. They were looking for a senior system administrator. We reached out to 222 people. We interviewed 27, and then we recommended 11 people for a position that they were really struggling to get any applicants for. So we go through this, but it's all values first in the hiring process. And that's actually a legal protection for our businesses, because what happens is when you're in an interview, and many of us feel this dread and this anxiety, when you're in an interview, if you ask the wrong question, you could get a lawsuit. And the reason for that is there's a lot of protected categories that EEOC says you're not allowed to ask about. But the protection is if you talk about your business, if you talk about your job and your culture and your values more, instead of asking them questions, that's a way to protect yourself. So at RedBalloon, we believe in blessing the customer. We think every customer should be better off because they interact with RedBalloon. Well, when we're interviewing people, we'll say, okay, one of our core values is to bless the customer. And then we ask these series of open-ended, evidence-based questions of the job seeker when we're doing this for our employers. And we would say things like, we believe in blessing the customer. Can you give me several examples of how you have gone above and beyond to bless a customer when it wasn't even part of your job responsibilities? Well, that's an open-ended, evidence-based question focused on what we care about. That's part of what we do when we're doing the screening process. So we have a fairly large recruitment team, and we are doing hundreds of interviews for our customers every single month. And we use their values, we use their mission, we use their culture to describe the business that they're going into and make sure that the person's going to be a great fit for that. So this team has honestly hired everything from founding CEOs to CFOs, all the way down to executive assistants for people at radio stations. So we've done, as we like to say, CFOs to secretaries from Hawaii to Maine. We've been able to fill positions for businesses, and they have the peace of mind, the blessed assurance of knowing that when they actually come into an interview with someone who's made it through the entire RedBalloon gauntlet, they don't have to worry about pronouns. They don't have to worry about walking on eggshells, being offended. They can just actually have a conversation with the person. And that is such a peace of mind for our employers. And so that's what the team does. They spend every day just blessing our customers, making their lives better.
That is awesome. I mean, you've achieved so much success for not only the companies, but the applicants and they can be themselves in an interview and know that they're going to get hired somewhere, that they're going to fit in at. What's your biggest challenge now?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is people don't believe it. We did an interview. We surveyed 100,000 job seekers, and 68% of them said that if their current employer knew that they were a Republican or a conservative, that they thought that they would either be fired, they would not be up for any promotion or raises, or they would just be in a position where they're kind of doxxed at work and kind of ostracized at their employer. So people have lived in that environment for so long, they have trouble believing that freedom's even available or real anymore in the workplace. But we believe that that free workers are the best workers because they're free to be innovative, they're free to try things, to work hard, and bless customers. And so I think that's the big challenge. And then for employers, if you mention recruiting to most employers, they kind of have a little bit of a PTSD moment because many of them have been burned by recruiters. They've been in a position where they didn't love the process and they had to write a $40,000 check to the recruiter at the end of that process. And so when I say RedBalloon recruiter, you can kind of see people recoil a little bit. And I say, no, just hold on. Let me explain how we're different. We have our values lined up, but we also have our incentives lined up because you're paying us $4,500 to do the whole recruitment process. And even if you don't hire, and we've had some employers where we brought them amazing candidates and they just decided they weren't going to hire, it's fine. We're on your team. You've paid us to do the work. And we're not kind of this tail wagging the dog with this huge commission that we're just breathing down your neck to hire someone. And so that's been a real blessing to be able to help people. But so I think, Seth, the biggest challenge is people believing that freedom is still available and that this deal is not too good to be true. It is true. And we've now done it for hundreds of employers.
You mentioned the cyber attacks. You're not doing anything illegal. You're expressing freedom of speech, but it's still surprising to me that forgive the term, woke three-letter agencies haven't come knocking down your door.
Yeah, we definitely are keeping an eye on that. And we've been, canceled by the likes of LinkedIn before and then been able to get back on. We're bracing for that moment. I've had a lot of media, I've had everything from Wired magazine to newspapers around the country doing derogatory articles about RedBalloon and about I'll look at them and their cute little freedom-loving job board. And that doesn't bother me at all because, if you're going to do something, someone's going to take pot shots at you. We have not had any three-letter agencies knocking down our door, and knock on wood, we'd like to keep it that way.
I know it's going to vary all over the map. What's like the average salary range of the position that you're placing?
Yeah. So we have jobs all over the place, right? Everything from mechanics to CEOs, CFOs. I would say the industries that we have done the best in and where we have the most momentum is in the media space and the technology space. So if you're looking for a white collar worker, we've also, done work for CPAs and lawyers, but really media and technology. We've placed showrunners at some of the largest conservative programs in America. We have placed radio announcer voices. We have placed a lot of technology people. So if you're looking for DevOps or you're looking for cybersecurity or database management, those are positions we're going to do very, very well in, and then we're going to be able to fill. We had one company down in Dallas. They were looking for enterprise salespeople, and it was a software company. And so they reached out and they said, all right, so every other recruiter we've talked to, it's been $30,000 to $40,000 per hire for us to be able to find the type of people that we want. We were able to, in that kind of recruitment process for $4,500, bring them 9 people, and they hired 4 of them. And they're like, we just saved like $30,000 per hire. And so I would say in those white collar industries like software sales, technology, and the media space, we're going to do very well. We're going to bring you people. We have a huge network, and it's growing every single day.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I have run a lot of businesses over the years, and this is the only business where I receive unsolicited thank you notes from perfect strangers saying things like, you have changed the trajectory of my family. You've given me hope that America could be free again. I've had multiple people say you've saved my marriage because the job that I have, when you swim in woke waters for 8 to 10 hours a day, it's hard to not bring that home and change the way that you interact with your family, with your community, with your friends and your church. And so just being part of this story where people, I had one single mom write me and she said, I got a new job through RedBalloon, and about 3 weeks into the job, she had 2 sons, and one of them said, Mommy, you're not angry all the time anymore. And she's like, oh,
Wow.
Man, I didn't realize that my job was having such an impact on the way that I interacted with my kids and the way that I interacted with my community. And so for us to be part of that story, and then to get all those thank you notes, that gets me up in the morning. I'm earning way less money than I did when I was running large kind of neutral businesses, but to be able to stand up for freedom in America makes you feel really good.
I bet. Well, that is absolutely incredible. We know that your time is incredibly valuable, and we greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. For our folks who are watching or listening and want to learn more, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about all things Andrew and RedBalloon?
Yeah, so it's redballoon.work. It's not .com, it's not .org, it's WORK, redballoon.work. And you can find out all the information on that. And then we're on all of the social media platforms at RedBalloon Work. You can also follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn primarily. I'm not very good at social media. I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but I do on occasion put things on there that I think are important and meaningful for people in America. So you can follow me at A Crapuchettes, and it's CRAPUCHETTES, A Crapuchettes. But redballoon.work is a great place to start, and we would love to be a blessing to you, to your family, to your community, and to your business.
That is awesome. And if you're not on Truth Social, perhaps we'll see you advertising there soon.
We should get right on that.
Awesome. All right. Well, then this is Seth Greene with Andrew Crapuchettes from redballoon.work. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
All right. Keep being a blessing. Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you all for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.